Okay, another common mistake that I people see people make are what I call the one-trick pony. They build a business and they just rely on a single product or a single market, and then something happens. The environment changes, new competition comes in, legislation maybe comes in, and suddenly their business, for want of a better expression, dies on its arse. Um, one of the other great strengths I think I've done in my business, I've been really diverse. So I started with property information guides overseas. How many of those do I sell now? Next to bugger all, because nobody buys property overseas right now. Yeah, go back 5 or 6 years, big boom times. Emerging markets like Bulgaria and Croatia, massive amounts of people buying it, and still people were buying a lot of stuff in Spain. But wind it forward now, to any overseas property estate agent, and their business is dying, and massive amounts of them have died. There is just no market in that anymore. So if my entire business was just built around overseas property investment, I wouldn't have made 8.5 million quid on the internet by now. It probably would have been like 1 million quid, and the last couple of years I probably would have made bugger all. So think about how you can diversify, because the principles are the same. It's just driving traffic to websites and providing some sort of product or service from a website, but diversify. So go into different markets. So I started off with property investment guides, but then I got into other things like DIY stuff, plumbing, plastering, bricklaying, diversified into things like yoga and bonsai trees and electrical regulations and all sorts of different information product markets, because every market has a life cycle, and it's boom or bust. And overseas property information was at a big boom 6, 7 years ago, and it's a big trough now. There's nothing going on, but there are other markets which are actually much more boom now than they were 7 years ago. Things like solar panels and green energy and wind turbines and that sort of stuff. That's pretty big right now. Alternative investments were pretty left field going back 5 or 6 years. I had people come and talk to me about investing in teak forests, for example, and they were offering 9% yields, and at the time you could get 6, 7% in the bank, and it's like, well, why would I risk my money on an extra percent or two buying a bit of forest somewhere miles away when I can get 6, 7% in the bank? But now banks are paying next to nothing, and those things like teak farming are still paying 8, 9, 10%, and suddenly it's a more attractive proposition. So they're having a big boom time right now. So there's different businesses that peak and trough, and obviously stuff around the Olympics is going to be heading for boom time this summer. But stuff related to that, think of the things like royal memorabilia, like running up to a royal wedding, Wills and Kate mugs and hats and stuff, are selling really well. But after the event, it's dead, isn't it? There's nothing doing, and the same will be true of like Olympic stuff. This year will be, you know, big surge, big market in the Olympics, and then once it's been and gone, then that market's gone. So diversify, spread your risk, and look at what you're doing, what you can get into. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And remember, competition comes really quick in this business. So, who's to say that you're not going to get a competitor tomorrow in your market that could decimate the market for you? So make sure you're not just in the one market. Okay, next really good tip is networking. Know the key players in your market. And this is another secret of my success, really, is that I got to meet people that are influential in my markets, people with lists. And how do I meet them? Well, I meet them at things like seminars. In fact, I'm off on Friday on the Marketers Cruise, which is all about networking. It's about meeting other marketers from around the world, and I'm sure I'm going to learn new marketing tips and strategies from these guys. And also, I'll meet new people that have got lists that actually I could get to promote my products and services, and I'll probably meet people with great products and services which I can introduce to the UK market and promote to my lists. But whatever market you're in, if it's not in internet marketing, if it's in, I don't know, horse related products. I got a support query about that yesterday, so I know there's at least one of you in the horse market. So who are the key players in your market? There are probably some seminars at places like Olympia, where big companies in your market exhibit. Horse of the Year show, that kind of stuff. Regional things like county shows, Kent County shows. Be a lot of equestrian related things at those. There's magazines relevant to your niche. There's organisations like the British Horse Society in that particular niche. So find out what are the big seminars, who are the big players, who's the big list owners in that niche, what are the magazines relevant to that niche, and get in touch with people and start networking and find out who these people are, and keep touching base with them as well, and just let them know what you're doing and build some relationships, because relationships can be really, really good. Just some JVs that I did through networking last year probably brought in over $500,000 for me last year, not by selling my products to my lists, but by selling my products to other people's lists, or by selling other people's products to my lists. So really, really important one there. And another one is using list brokers to get introductions. So it's a kind of backdoor strategy that I teach, which is if you go to a list broker, you can often find out via a list broker who's got the biggest lists in your market. And once you know the company name, then what you can do is get in touch with that company direct and introduce yourself and kind of cut out the list broker from the loop. So it's quite a good strategy. Next one is quality. Another mistake I see people make is having a really bad quality product. So there's another little expression that I don't know the quote's from, but which is how you do something is how you do everything. And it's very true. Think about Marks and Spencers. Everything about Marks and Spencers is quality, whether it's the quality of their socks or their clothes or the food or the coffee shop or whatever it might be, or the cleanliness of the stores. It all says something about them. And the same is true for you. You don't want to have an amazing web page, but then the product doesn't live up to the quality of the web page. The product looks a bit ropey, or it's badly packaged, or it's badly delivered. The quality of the printing's poor, or whatever. So have quality in everything that you do. So have a quality looking product with good packaging, have good support, and definitely pay the extra and get some professional graphics done. So really, another key learning from my perspective is when I started out, I just did my own graphics for like inserts of DVDs and product images and stuff, and they were all right, but they didn't look great. Just a bit of investment in just getting that professional look and feel on your products will instantly pay dividends, and it's just a no-brainer. Especially these days with outsourcers, you can get stuff done for like $100, $200, really good graphics done for your product or service. It'll look great, and you'll sell a lot more because you've got a much more professional image. Another common mistake is overstocking, particularly people making things like manuals or CDs or DVDs. I think, oh, well, the cheapest per unit cost is if I get 1,000 done, so I'll get 1,000 made. Couple of problems with that. One is if you don't sell as quick as you thought you were, you can have a big storage problem. 1,000, even 1,000 DVDs is going to take up a fair amount of space. You get 25 in a box, so you're talking 40 boxes of DVDs to store if you order 1,000 of those until you've sold them. So you definitely got a storage issue. But the bigger problem I see is that people realise there was a mistake. Your first version, there's going to be a few mistakes that creep in there, and I think Karen's on the call, and she experienced this with the quality of an image on a book cover. She got some books printed and then realised that one of the images was a low resolution, so I had to go and get them reprinted with a higher resolution. I don't think she had too many made, but you imagine if you had 1,000 books made and you realise there was a mistake and you've got to get them all done again, it can get really expensive. So these days there's no reason to do this because you can do low runs, There's a company that I think they're in the slides from the course we use for small runs are called Print Junction, and they're based near me down in Kent. But if you give them a go, it's print-junction.co.uk. Yeah, in fact, I've just ordered a little run of something today, like 25 units, and the cost per unit, yes, it's a bit higher for 25, but it's not that much higher. And then I've not committed, to masses and masses of stock. I've only got 25 sets being made up, so I haven't got to have massive stock rooms. So yeah, definitely, my experience is it's cheaper in the long run, even though there's a higher per unit cost, because that you haven't got storage space and you haven't got wastage when you decide that something's out of date, needs updating, or in fact there was an error in it. But another good tip just on that is employ a proofreader. I've actually got a proofreader that I use now to proofread my written products. I've got like a home study course which I market, which I get a proofreader just to proofread each module. I mean, I have a proofread myself, but she's just done the next module of the course, and for about 50 quid she's proofread it for me, and she's found about 36 mistakes that I hadn't noticed, nor had someone else that had put the thing together for me noticed either. So that's 50 quid well spent, because if I'd got 300 of these things printed up, 5 quid a pop, that's £1.5 grand, and if there's that many errors in, you'd probably have to throw them in the skip and start again. So a 50 quid investment to save £1.5 grand of wasted printing is well worth doing. Okay, next tip is to give your JV partners the tools to do the job. So it's really important to have JV partners to help you do your marketing, but give them some tools to help them. Don't just leave them on their own. So what you want to do is have an affiliate system all set up. Now I use and recommend Marketer's Choice to run my own affiliate system. It just does everything you'd expect it to do. It gives each affiliate their own unique user ID and password, and their own link for each product that you offer, but it'll just do like things like real-time sales tracking for them, so they can see any sales that they've made. It'll send them an email every time they sell something, and it just manages it all for you, which is really good. And within that system you can upload banners and graphic images and promotional emails, so you can give people all the media that they need to market for you. Another good tip I found is to do special incentives from time to time. So maybe if your affiliates say, this is the product we're already focusing on this month, and if you sell any of these, instead of 35% commission, we're going to give you 50% commission. So special offers, special promotions for affiliates are good. And also doing some training for your affiliates, just teach them about the products and services that you offer, what your USP is, is a really good idea as well. So maybe do a webinar for your affiliates or your JV partners is definitely worth doing. Okay, another big mistake I see people make all the time is not enough market research. They don't test the idea first, they just create a product and hope that they're going to sell some. Now, there's no reason to do this anymore because it's so easy to test an idea. So if you've got an idea, then just create a sales page for that product as if it exists, even though it doesn't, and just drive some traffic to it and measure the conversion rates and see if people want to buy it. And you can drive a bit of traffic with something like Google AdWords, you have to pay per click, but excuse me, it's for the sake of buying 50 quid's worth of clicks, 50 quid at 10p a click will get you 500 visitors to your website. So you'll be able to know after 500 visitors, does this thing sell or not? You'd expect 5 sales to be on an industry average 1% conversion. So if you get 5 sales, great. If you get 10 sales, brilliant. 20 sales, ace. If you get no sales or 1 sale, it should definitely make you think about, do you really want to develop this particular product or service? Next big mistake people make is that they just think their internet business is just an internet business, and that's the only way they're going to sell, but also the only way they're going to market. And another big secret is leverage offline channels. Drive people offline to online. So look at other ways you can engage with people to get them to come online. So that could be direct mail, sending them stuff out in the post. Could be telesales, could be just getting leads but then actually phoning people to close some business. Could be going to trade shows and actually giving out freebies there, or collecting business cards at trade shows. Could be leaflets that you leaflet drop to people or you insert in relevant publications. Could be newspaper ads, could be specialist niche magazine ads. There's lots and lots of places that you can advertise and market. Yes, you're still selling from online, you're using these to drive people online, but a lot of these channels are very underused, and you know, I've used these very successfully. We did a lot in direct mail last year. We did over £250,000 in direct mail last year, which for an internet marketer is quite a lot of money. Telesales, we did a couple of telesales campaigns last year, which are very successful. Trade shows, we did things like the Business Startup Show, which worked well. Leaflets, for those of you at the National Achievers Congress, you know that we got something like 10,000 leaflets printed up, and you probably had at least one thrust upon you at some point there. And we've done newspaper marketing and magazine marketing as well, so using all these offline channels to drive people online. Another common problem is spreading yourself too thinly, having about 10 balls in the air that you're trying to juggle and not concentrating on any of them enough to get them finished. What I suggest you do is just concentrate on a couple. Just pick your, top 1 or 2, maximum of 3. Don't try any more than 3 projects at a time, and just get them finished. Set yourself an agenda and work on them and get it done. Too many people just get shiny thing syndrome when they say, "Oh, I've got this idea and I've started on this, but now this new tool's come along, or this new project, or I've got this new idea, so I've started on this website, and I've registered this domain, and I've done this and I've done that." And so I go back to the first idea they started a year ago and said, "How have you got on with that then? Is that launched now?" It's like, "Oh no, well I got a bit sidetracked by all these other things." So think about how you can use focus just on a couple of ideas. Don't have loads and loads of ideas going. Another good tip is you can repurpose your content. So whatever you've already got, you can recycle that and you can repurpose it into other formats. So for example, if you've got an ebook, you can make an audio product out of it by getting somebody to read it and make an audio MP3 out of it. Can you make a video related to your product? So could you just make a screen recording of you demonstrating what you talk about in the product, for example? Could you run a webinar that teaches some of the content, or could you run an in-person course? And a great example of this is Rick McMullen, the fireman, that does career training guides. He actually started with his career books on how to become a policeman, paramedic, or whatever. But he's actually done in-person courses on joining the police force. And really what you learn in the one-day course on joining the police force is a small section of the How to Become a Police Officer ebook. Because you can't actually teach 250 pages worth of content in one day. It's not possible. But that's how big the book is. So his in-person course is actually just repurposing the content that's in a £10 ebook and delivering it in a different mode in a classroom. So that's something you maybe could do as well. If you've got a product you've created, could you just take that content and deliver it in a slightly different way, in a different medium maybe, and reuse it? And that's definitely a really good tip. Something that I've done in internet marketing is I've created a home study course, but that home study course actually started out from a transcription of my in-person classroom course. So I did a classroom course, which you guys have all been on, and then I videoed that course, got the videos transcribed, and then those transcriptions became the basis of a home study course. So that's another strategy, just repurposing that same content, because it's great content, and why not deliver it in another format too? And last one of my 20 top tips for today is having too much on one website. I had one just this week. Somebody wanted me to review their website, and I went to it, and it's like, what the hell is this? They're actually trying to sell about 20 different products, all unrelated, off of one website. So there were things like tennis balls, there were gas boiler servicing on there, there was get your own solar panels on there, there was a kitchen knife set on there. It was just like completely random things, unrelated, all on one website. And straight off, anybody lands on that website, they're just going to think, what the hell is this? This guy's just jack of all trades, master of none. It's just a little hodgepodge of stuff. Clearly all affiliate stuff. It's unrelated. It's not very focused. So, wasted for everyone's time really. Looks really amateurish, really unprofessional. So just have a website that focuses on one thing and come across as a specialist in that thing, not as a generalist or someone who hasn't got a clue what it is that they do, and they've just cobbled together a load of affiliate links and thrown them together on one site. So just look at your own websites and make sure that you're coming across as an expert in that space and you've just got one core thing on there. You haven't got loads of unrelated products or services you're trying to offer. Okay, just a comment from Andrew about juggling too many balls. This is my issue at the moment. Taking time out. Yeah, I mean it's a big problem. And this, one of the big ones that probably still faces me now because I've got like 11 companies that I run. I've just got loads on the go all the time. I feel like I never stop really. I arrived back in my house about 4 minutes before this webinar was going to start. I've been on the go all day, but I kind of like it like that. But here's some tips for this. One thing is the old email distraction, and this I don't know where the tip came from now. It might have come from Tim Ferriss or someone like that. But that is, if you just sit there at your PC and you've got your email open, the distraction is you just go and check your email every few minutes and or Facebook, and you just get sucked into it. It's like I had one of my friends calls Facebook crack book because it's like that addictive that you just get yourself sucked in. So the tip is you turn off your email and your Facebook and you set yourself, a target of what you're going to achieve, what it is you want to do. You just sit at your PC until you've done it. Quite simple, you have an idea that this thing's going to take an hour or 2 hours to do, and the deal is you sit there until you've done it, and you're not allowed to look at your email or your Facebook until you've done it. And that can be really effective, and that's one that I use quite effectively. So I'll check my emails first thing, then I'll shut email down. I'll then work until lunch, and then I'll check the emails again at lunchtime, and then I'll shut it down again, and then do a couple of hours in the afternoon. So that's a good tip for just getting a bit of focus, and definitely using some sort of task manager. So you've got a list of what the things that you want to achieve, when do you want to achieve them by. I use one called Remember the Milk, which is an online one, which is at rememberthemilk.com. It started off as like a shopping list, hence the name. Remember the Milk was like a little reminder, but it's just a real simple task manager. Different categories of lists. So I've kind of got like a platinum group list of reminders for things to do for the platinum group, and a list for each of my companies of things that I need to be doing for that company. And you can do sub-listing. You can move things from one list to another. You can have priorities within lists and target dates and that kind of stuff. And the great thing is it's an online task management system, so you can also access it from your iPhone. So if you're just sat on the train and think, oh yeah, I must remember to do X or Y, you just log in to the app and add it to your task list. And if you actually get one of the jobs done while you're out and about, you can just tick it off your list there and then. So that's really good. Rememberthemilk.com. A great little task manager that you can access from all your devices. So that will help a bit with your focus too. Oh yeah, Karen's just said she's got the same distraction with Facebook and Skype. Yeah, another one to turn off is Skype. In fact, I've got to turn it off, so it's bleeped a couple of times while I've been on this call. So I've resisted the urge to look at it, but it's hard to escape. And another one actually, there's a few people in the world that are kind of what I call time stealers. And there's a guy I know, for example, I won't name any names, but I know that when I get him on the phone, he will talk for at least half an hour, and when I get off the phone, I know that conversation we could have had in less than 5 minutes, probably 2 minutes for the kind of salient important parts, but he's just a bit of a witterer, and he doesn't like to stop, and you just can't wrap up the phone conversation. So I actually very rarely answer the phone to anybody now, because I just think, you know what, If it's something important you've got to tell me, leave me a message, because then you're really focused in getting that message over to me in like 30 seconds. And that can save me literally half an hour. Because if I picked up the phone and spoke to you, that's going to kill the next 30 minutes of time. So the time stealers, and there's a few of them in my address book, I never pick up the phone to them, because I know that every time I pick up the phone, that's going to cost me 30 minutes. So steer people through communication like email, which I think is really good for making people be really like focused on, okay, what are the questions? And in fact, email is better than chat for this as well, because in chat people get into, like online chats, they just get into sort of banter, and it just wastes time as well, when it's hard to focus on anything else, because you just change screens and you start doing what you were doing, and then another message pops up, so you jump back to Skype, and then you type a reply, and then you go back, and then 30 seconds later there's another interruption, and it's actually really time consuming. So I would suggest, I try and steer people through email as much as possible, because then they can just get across what they need to get across. They type it in a couple of sentences, I can reply in a couple of sentences, job done. That is the most efficient communications mechanism that I think there is. So just be wary of getting sucked in and big distractions of time.